and my co-author, Dr. Jeffrey Crouch of Melbourne, Australia, and it's also in a handbook that you may wish to consult as well. And for those who are interested, I have copies of a flyer that we can pass around, if it has already been passed around. That on one side at least gives information about my book, if anyone's interested. Now let's start out about talking about the tourism phenomenon in Eastern Ontario. Now what this model is, and this is a conceptual framework which is extracted from my introductory tourism textbook, Tourism Principles, Practices, and Philosophy, which has been very, very successful, I'm pleased to say. And this really is a summary, and we won't have time to discuss it now, but it really tries to summarize the components of a tourism destination. In other words, what do you have to work with as a senior manager of a tourism destination? And what this model contains right in the very middle, if you can see it, is the tourist. Our primary focus when we start out to develop any kind of tourism policy is to focus on the kind of experiences that we are trying to deliver to the potential visitor, to the tourist. And so all we do then is focus in this circle in the center, which is intended to be to highlight the fact that the tourist is the focus of everything we do. And around that, we have the components of a tourism destination, starting on the outside, the natural environment, which everyone starts with, the scenery that we have, the climate that we have, and that's really the starting point that any destination manager has. And on top of that, we add the built environment, all the things that we build over time within our technology and our culture to make our destination more attractive to the visitor. And in the center of the model is all the organizations from the international level right down to the local level, all the organizations that manage and try and develop and provide leadership for tourism in their destinations at whatever level they might be, international, national, provincial, or local. So this model just tries to summarize all the players that are involved and all that you have to work with as the manager of a tourism destination. So we'll just skip over this for now, but anyone that's interested, we can talk about that in more detail if you are a manager and want to have a greater understanding of this. Now let's talk about destination competitiveness and come back to the fact that the tourist is at the center of all we do as tourism managers, and the tourist is faced with the choice of selecting from many, many possible touristic experiences. And as you're all very aware, the number of possibilities keeps expanding and expanding day by day, year by year. So when an individual tourist starts to choose from a destination, they can choose from one destination or many combinations of destinations. The tourist, as opposed to the traditional consumer who we sell our product to, we must bring the visitor to the destination. So that's a very different kind of selling proposition from normal consumer selling. So the first thing we must do is realize that the location of the destination represents the principal product unit in the tourism industry. That is our unit of study, the actual destination itself. So tourists make choices between destinations, or more accurately, many destination experiences, where they're not choosing a destination as such, they are choosing a destination experience. So keep that clearly in mind, that not the product, it's the experience. Secondarily, they're choosing between individual product experience components within a destination. When they go to a destination, they can have overall experiences and many, many sub-experiences. So competition then between destinations plays a very critical role in shaping this global tourism industry, which keeps on expanding despite all the constraints that it's faced in recent times, from terrorism to the price of fuel and all the other challenges it faces. It keeps on growing. Now, some destinations are much more successful at attracting visitors than are others, naturally. Consequently, the potential, or rather the spatial pattern of tourism is far from uniform around the world. We get centers that are really very successful and others which are rather less successful. So what can tourism destinations do then to compete? How can they pursue tourism development strategies that enable them to achieve success with respect to their economic, social, and environmental goals? These are important questions which any tourism destination must ask today. Now let's look at some of the indicators about this thing we call competition. First of all, the number of destinations that tourists choose to visit is growing, as I have stated, and we're also seeing an increasing number of niche specialization among tourism destinations. In other words, they're becoming more highly specialized in the kind of experiences they deliver to visitors. Now, as we look at the overall pattern of competitiveness, some destinations appear to be coping quite well with this increasing competitiveness, but others are struggling. So the world's traditional destinations have finally awakened to the reality that their share of the tourism market is declining. This reality is being cushioned by the fact that tourism for individual destinations is still growing strongly, but more slowly rather than the international average. So what we're seeing is that even though some destinations are not really doing that well, because the overall market is growing, they are managing to survive. In response to these changes, many destinations are seeking solutions to the question of how to become or to remain more competitive. In doing so, questions often arise that they must answer. For example, how important are convention facilities to a destination? One kind of question you may ask. Should your airport be expanded? And if you're in Kingston, I think maybe you might want to think about that. Sorry, that's not fair, but I think you all understand what I'm getting at. Would construction of an icon help to enhance the image of the destination? When they built the Eiffel Tower in Paris, they had no understanding of the impact that particular edifice would have on the image of Paris as a tourism destination. So you know now that anyone who goes to Paris must have their picture taken somewhere near the Eiffel Tower. And it's with the same at Banff, which is our national park tourism icon. Everyone wants to have their picture taken somewhere in Banff National Park. Whenever you go to a destination that has some icon with which you can identify, it really helps to enhance the image and its appeal to potential visitors. Other question you might ask is, would it be better to concentrate resources on promotion of the destination or or should hotel room tax be introduced to fund the increase? Should more municipal government revenues be spent on developing or improving visitor-friendly infrastructures or services? So do you promote the destination or do you spend money on enhancing the infrastructure or the products within the destination? Would the hosting of a special event help enhance the tourism in a destination? Why do you think that Vancouver 2010 was so in demand and what it did for Vancouver as a tourism destination? The Calgary 88 Olympics, as many of you who know Calgary at all are aware, it's totally transformed the city. It changed the level of confidence of people. It changed the whole spirit of the total population about the nature of the city. So when people traveled internationally, they just had a different feeling about their hometown. So special events can be a major, major tourism building tool. On the other hand, if you have a crime problem, should you put your efforts on trying to reduce crime within the city? Okay, now let's move on. I've talked about the book, and I won't say any more about it. If you're interested, I can talk to you about it. But what we did was we interviewed the heads of national tourism organizations, the chief executive officers of members of the International Association of Convention and Visitor Bureaus. which are all the large bureaus like Toronto Tourism, Ottawa Tourism. We talked to the heads of all those Convention and Visitor Bureau CEOs. We asked them questions about what, in your view, are the factors that determine the success of a tourism destination.